Ignite, sparked by BBB, where conversations are taking place to change the future.
Welcome back, everyone, to BBB Sharing. I'm Evie, Director of Ignite, sparked by BBB, and my wonderful BBB supporter today is Jeff Katz. Jeff, welcome in.
Thank you, Evie. It's wonderful to be here again.
So today you have some surprising and very exciting news to share.
I do. I'm here. That's surprise number one, right?
I'm happy to have you here. I love seeing you at our Spark conversations. And you are such a great support, not only in the community, but for us here at the Ignite program and BBB. And it's just great to have you come in and talk to us, just in general.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm a big supporter of the Better Business Bureau, and my business is BBB accredited. I'm proud of that. I'm actually, by the way, I'm wearing my BBB special bracelet today.
Do you know what I learned?
What?
The color blue is a sign of trust.
Oh, well, then this is perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, and I thought that was so interesting.
I love that.
I learned that recently.
We got to add some more blue to our attire, right?
We do.
I love it. Well, yeah, I wanted to come in, and you're kind enough to ask me to come in. I have a new book out, and it is called The Hidden Power of Storytelling. Right, that's the.
Oh, my favorite is the sticker in the back.
See, well, I told you, I believe in BBB. I think the world of the Better Business Bureau and everybody who's here. So, it's all about delivering an effective speech.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that people struggle so much with being able to express their words and being able to express them in a way that it resonates with people.
Absolutely.
We tend to get so. Emotional is a good thing, but we get so overly emotional, and those tend to get us tripping over our words.
Absolutely.
Or maybe sometimes we can't express it the way that we want to.
Yeah.
My sister always says, I wish I had a printer for my brain. And every time she says it, I'm like, I can understand what she means.
That's wow. And if she gets working on that, I'm going to have a line of customers for her. I'll be right at the front. That is wonderful. That would be a great idea.
That would be a great. We'll get her BBB accredited too.
Absolutely. Now, short of that, there are one or two other things, I suppose, that we can deal with. And the biggest fear, the number one fear that people have is public speaking.
Yes.
And when you put that above terminal illness, gosh, there's a problem. There's a big problem.
That is a problem.
Yeah.
But you know what? Coming from the background that I come from, Greeks are so worried about what everybody thinks. It's almost paralyzing.
Okay.
So when you come into a room and you're going to have to entertain people or talk to people you would normally not really associate with, or there's a lot of gossiping around it, that tends to be so overwhelming and anxiety inducing.
Wow.
So imagine having to stand up and talk to an array of people you have no idea who they are. What's running through my mind most of the time is, what are these people going to think about me?
Yeah. Well, that's an issue,
Yeah.
right? That's a big issue. There are cultural norms. There's certain cultures that are much more demonstrative and open, and some cultures which say, hey, look, just kind of stay quiet and don't say too much. I mean, you can still enjoy the conversation. Every once in a while you can pop in there, but kind of stay in your lane.
Right.
And then when you're called upon to deliver some sort of a presentation or some sort of a speech, this fear sets in, right? It's just, oh my gosh, your body stiffens up and you just don't know what you're supposed to do.
Rocks in the pit of your stomach.
Yeah.
So tell me what motivated you to write this book.
I was working on a master's level accreditation. All right. Motivational speakers, like every other organization, has a professional organization. And it's the only place to receive this master's level accreditation, this master's level program for motivational speaking. And so part of what I had to do, in addition to regular classwork and coursework and videos of presentations and scripts and what have you, was to write what is essentially a thesis.
Okay.
And then at the end of it, I thought, I'm going to submit this and I think I'll be just fine with it. But man, if I could then turn around, publish it and share it with some other people, and there we are.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think I get up to do the Spark Conversations. It's been once a week now, but usually it's once a month.
Right.
And I still feel like I'm faking it till I make it.
Ah,
There's still times when I'm just not comfortable speaking or expressing how I'm feeling, even when there are times when I do have a story to tell in regards to while I'm facilitating a conversation.
right.
But it just doesn't feel like I'm in my own skin sometimes. It kind of feels like I'm on the outside looking in
Wow.
and almost very cringe-like.
No.
Yes,
Well,
I'm not a fan of it.
all right. Well, Evie, let me tell you this. Having been in the audience, having been part of the group when you've done that, you've done an amazing job. Nobody sitting there would think, "Oh, I don't think she's really feeling comfortable." Everybody else is like, "My gosh, she's amazing. We're gonna get her to do everything." So you may think that you're faking it till you make it, but again, for those of us who have been in the audience, you made it.
Thank
You're
you.
good.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you especially.
Oh.
But one of the things that you've noticed while you're taking this accreditation, that most of your peers tend to be, this is my biggest issue, and it's my roadblock. I cannot get past it. Silence, is that it?
Silence can be a tool.
Uh-huh.
If you wield silence properly, it can be very valuable. If you are speaking, you're making a presentation, you're doing a training, you ask a question.
Right.
And then you stop.
Right.
And silence is really loud, right? I mean, it gets to be this overwhelming, it's like, well, somebody should play the drums or something. This is just craziness here. But it forces people, number one, to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he stop speaking? Why did she say she's the talker? She's doing this whole thing here. She should be saying something. So it really does, it's kind of like a poke.
Yeah.
People have to pay attention. But it can also be very disconcerting. And if you find yourself at the front of the class or in front of the audience or in the middle of this training session, and all of a sudden you're silent and you didn't mean to be silent, that can be problematic.
Yeah.
Except the audience doesn't necessarily know that. Your class doesn't necessarily know that. So your silence may actually prompt some incredible conversation and some incredible input and feedback from them.
Like ad-libbing, a happy
Absolutely.
accident.
Yes, absolutely. A very happy accident.
One of the things that I think took people to surprise for the most part was the silence when I'm facilitating
Yeah.
a conversation.
Yep.
Because what I learned when I studied at VCU, especially for interviewing people, the quieter you are or the less you say, the more it's going to get somebody to respond to a question.
Right. People, generally speaking, don't like quiet.
Right.
Despite what we say, oh, I just want to be left alone and enjoy the quiet. If you're involved in any sort of an interaction and all of a sudden it's quiet, you're just wired to say, somebody should be saying something.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I guess it has to be me. I got to think of something to say.
I think that's why they call it awkward silence.
Yes, I think you're right.
But I do think that sometimes being quiet or sitting in silence kind of helps you recollect your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
People are so scared to just sit in silence.
Yeah.
Even alone.
Oh, absolutely.
Which just baffles me sometimes because I think to myself, well, you never know what you have to say to yourself, but you're stuck in the noise all the time.
That's a great point. It's why so many, I think, have been drawn to things like meditation, mindfulness, and then we keep coming up with new terms for this, but fundamentally, it's about spending some time by yourself, in yourself, right? You get to a point, if you're doing it properly, where you have just sort of silenced what's going on around you, even though you hear it. You're not paying attention to it. And if you've done any sort of things like that, the mindfulness or the meditation, a number of years ago, I was speaking with Mike Love, who's one of the original members of the Beach Boys. And Mike Love has been into transcendental meditation since the 1960s. And we were chatting about things. It was really interesting because this was backstage at one of the after hours concert series events in Doswell. And a really super guy, just a nice guy. And he wanted to talk about political issues and societal issues. And I just wanted to pick his brain about meditation.
Right.
And we were just sort of going like this, but we each kind of gave each other like, all right, look, I'll talk about politics for a couple of minutes. And I felt like I was paying the cover charge so that he would talk to me about meditation. And based on his suggestion, I went and I actually signed up and I took this meditation course. And I thought, well, this is interesting, right? For those of us who are people of faith, if you pray during the day, you may start your day in prayer, you may end your day in prayer. It's relatively quiet for the most part, right? It's a solo practice. Meditation, I think, is similar, but it's certainly not the same because it's much more focused on you as opposed to God.
Right.
But I thought, honestly, Evie, after I came out of there, like, oh, I can do this. This sounds like all right. You sit there for 20 minutes. There's now an app that counts you down. How easy is this? And all you got to do is just sit there and say nothing. It is, you are shaking your head. You know, this is one of the most difficult things that I've ever done in my life.
I didn't realize I had ADD until I actually started meditating. And my mind was running a mile a minute.
Right.
And I kept I was hard on myself. I was like, Evie, clear your head, clear your head. And I just could not do it.
Yeah.
The second I dropped one thought, there was another one to replace it immediately.
Yes, it's disconcerting. And I don't know if you ever get to the point where it's easy. I don't know. I'm not there. So I can't say it.
I think I just settled for having conversations with God because at least I've convinced myself that I'm having a conversation.
Yes.
And it's not letting my thoughts drive me crazy.
There you go.
I think that, and I do think meditation is good.
Yeah.
But for me, what I notice works is listening to drums.
Really?
Music relaxes me. So I listen to very calming music. Sometimes it's jazz.
Okay.
Sometimes it's acoustic, Greek folk music.
Wow.
Because it reminds me of being home.
Yeah.
And those things tend to relax me. But having complete silence, I'm not used to it.
No.
Keep in mind, I do come from a Greek family too. So there was never quiet in my house. So that might be a trauma trigger of growing up.
Understood.
But tell me, how can people find the book, number one?
Okay.
And number two, what is something, if they take anything away from it, you really, really, really want them to remember from it?
Well, I'll start with that first one. You can go to my website if you'd like, jeffkatz.us. It's right there, jeffkatz.us. You can also get it on Amazon, and that's easy enough. The one takeaway I think is sort of in the title, The Hidden Power of Storytelling, to remember that if you are called on to do a presentation or to do a training or what have you, you are telling a story.
Right.
It's not the same as when you were a little kid and you were perhaps enjoying a bedtime story, because if you're telling the story and your audience falls asleep, probably not the best story for that event. However, you are telling a story. There's a reason that somebody has said, Evie, we want you at the front of the room, or we want you on that platform, because you have something to share. And they know it. Even if you are having difficulty doing the calculus, trying to figure out, well, why they ask me? Why, really? But they know. And so bring that to it. Bring the same enjoyment, the same passion you had telling stories as a kid, because we all told stories. And many of our stories were really inventive, fanciful, weren't necessarily nonfiction stories in a lot of cases, right? But we told stories, and we have that in ourselves. Every culture has a storytelling culture. Now, sometimes the stories are shared differently. The Native American culture has a tendency to use dance and louder sounds, but there was always somebody else who knew the details, if you will. Obviously, you know about Greek culture, and there's a storytelling component. I look at my family. We came from Eastern Europe, Jews who escaped the Holocaust and the pogroms and the rest of it, and our entire history was related really via storytelling. telling people what had happened, why it had happened, and why you needed to continue telling that story.
I think that's wonderful. I do agree that it is telling your story, and with that is keeping an aspect of yourself inside of it too, because
Yes.
people can detect false personas
Absolutely,
very
they can.
quickly.
Yes, they
And
can.
so they can see that more so you're out of your element when you're not being true to yourself while
Spot
telling
on.
that story.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I think that's my biggest thing is bringing myself back to center while I still think I'm faking it till I make
You're
it.
not. You're not. And here's the other thing to remember, that people a lot of times when they're called upon to do the presentation, to lead something, say, well, okay, I got a lot of visual aids.
Right.
I got a whole bunch of stuff I'm going to share. I got PowerPoints like you wouldn't believe. And then the question becomes, do you want the people sitting in those chairs focusing on your PowerPoint? And maybe they really are taking a lot of notes, but are they hearing what you're saying? Or are you saying every once in a while, hey, take a look at this, and you know what? We'll share these with you after this. And you
Yes.
can have all that information. And if you are somebody who is more of a visual learner as opposed to an auditory learner, okay, that's great. You will have them. But while you're there, you're talking. And it's about connecting with each and every individual there.
That's crazy because I was in school, I did so much better in my lecture courses than I did in the courses where I had to be more hands-on
Yeah.
or look at a PowerPoint. I never missed a class where I had a lecture course because the notes that I wrote were my studying time.
Oh, sure.
And my sister said, she's like, I've never seen you open a book to study. And I said, well, I already took my notes. That was my studying.
Yeah.
All I had to do was review them really quick and then it was fine. But that was my sister's biggest pet peeve with me.
Oh, well, it's a good one to have, though. All right,
It
that's a good one,
It
and
is.
you bring that to your experience today. That you certainly have those extra things that people may want. But again, I'm telling you, Abby, I'm lecturing you like I'm your friendly old Uncle Jeff. But having been there while you've done these presentations, you're great.
Thank
You're
you.
absolutely great. So you take some confidence in that, my friend.
Thank you. I love doing these podcasts. I love doing these conversations. And each month I get to meet amazing people
Yeah.
every single time. And even meeting you has been such a wonderful experience because I've learned so much from you.
You're very kind.
I know it's true. And you are an example of what support looks like in the community. And so I do think that people who are looking for motivation or how to express that motivation to people should really consider reading this book, because you're very thoughtful with your words and you're very articulate about how you express things.
Thank you.
And I love that. So everyone that is watching, please make sure that you first go to Jeff's website and buy the book or find it on Amazon if you're an Amazon addictive shopper, like I am. And if you are watching this on YouTube, we are BBB Central VA. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. Make sure to hit that notification bell so that you get notified every time we post. And if you're listening on BBB Sharing Spotify, please make sure to follow us and share it out.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Ignite, sparked by BBB, where conversations are taking place to change the future.